Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about the mutations of humans and how it has prevented the susceptibility of viruses. So today we'll be looking at antibiotic resistance, balancing selection, so specifically in sickle cell disease, and as well we'll be looking at viruses. So antibiotic resistance. If in a selection of bacteriums has mutated, so a section of bacterium has mutated, which will make it resistant to an antibody due to a random mutation. So obviously all mutations are random and not because of they don't adapt to their environment. So a mutation occurs in a bacterium, and it now is able to be resistant against an antibiotic. This will be highly beneficial for it to survive and replicate. So if an antibiotic is then taken, most of the non-resistance, as they don't have this resistance gene of the bacterium, will die, causing a large niche in which the other bacteria which have the resistance strain will have all the resources and won't have to compete or be killed by the antibiotic. Eventually, these will be able to reproduce via binary fission and spread its mutation to all its offspring, who will also now survive against its antibiotic. This will spread on until you get a whole population of antibiotic resistant genes. This is important because we should not be taking antibiotics because of this exact reason. It can increase the chance of antibiotic resistance. Balancing selection. So this is when multiple alleles are actively maintained in the gene pool of a population. So this basically simplified is that, so there's multiple alleles which are maintained, which otherwise wouldn't be if there wasn't for certain distinct features in the environment. An example of this is in Africa, where sickle cell disease is still present. It's very rare in countries such as countries such as England, which is in Europe, and other countries in Europe and the United States. However, there's a reason for it still being prevalent in Africa. The reason is because although it's recessive, it is also co-dominant, which means that even though it could be heterozygous and recessive, it will still have a slight presence. So people in Africa who have healthy blood cells, which we would call AA, A being the dominant healthy red blood cell, will die of malaria. And people who have sickle cell homozygous recessive, which we call AA, will die of blood clots, because obviously a sickle cell disease changes the shape of the red blood cells and can cause blood clotting. However, if you have sickle cell heterozygous AA, capital A, small a, they'll be able to survive as it's co-dominant. And the shapes of the blood cells will not be enough to create lethal blood clotting, and the shape also of the red blood cells isn't allowing malaria to affect the body, so it's able to. So you're basically getting the best of both worlds. So that's how it's maintained in the population. Obviously, if this occurred in Europe, there would be no need for it. So people with sickle cell will probably, although there isn't modern medicine, there'll be less chance of it being needed. So now just a quick bit on viruses. Viruses are able to mutate very quickly. Obviously they need a host, and this is why vaccines are recommended frequently. So you can get your annual flu vaccine. This is because there's always a slight change in the virus strains, and scientists try to predict which flu virus will be predominant that year, and they'll slightly change the vaccine or edit it to make sure that you are resistant. Thank you very much for watching.